Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of things in play there. I think we're just trying to, figure out what's best defensively for us, what's best for the staff organizationally, and being able to, get everybody's strengths where they need to be. So I know that Terrell will be able to help me in a lot of things, help the football team, help the defense, continue to be a big role in that. And then just seeing where things progressed with Zach and, the comfort level that we had there. So, that's where we ended up, and I think we have still a great staff. There'll be some, guys that will add or people that will add going through this process. Happy for, guys like Robert Kugler, who was able to go and be a tight ends coach in Pittsburgh, and, some of those things. He will when I get back to Foxborough. I don't want to sit here and misspeak and figure out where that ends up. And, I've got a plan for him, and I think that's and a vision is better than the title necessarily. So, I don't want to say something and not have that be, an accurate depiction of what ends up happening once we work through a lot of different things. Well, not only his future, but what he was able to do for us and come in and provide leadership, work extremely hard, and the time that he was rehabbing from the knee, and I think it's just a really good presence each and every week. And so, as we look to evaluate the football team, we're doing that constantly. We're doing that, Elliot and myself and Ryan and Stretch and Elliot's staff, and just being a little bit behind of where we were, just how long the season went. Where those conversations for each and every player are happening in the meetings in between that we have with the draft players here. So, there's a lot of things that we'll do between now and the time that the football season starts. So that's going to be the same with I would say most every player on our roster.
We'll get back to head coach Mike Vrabel in just a second, but I want to remind you guys to hit that sub button. We have coverage from the NFL Combine all week long. You're going to hear from Elliott Wolf. You're going to hear once again from Mike Vrabel. You're going to hear from some of the players that the Patriots could draft, so you want to hit that sub button. And it doesn't stop there. We have all off-season content every single day with daily videos. Free agency is coming up. The draft will be here before you know it. OTAs, mini camp, and then training camp, and of course, the NFL season will be here in a blink. Interactive and informative content. We know that we love to give you guys everything that you need when it comes to Patriots news and rumors, and of course, we want to hear from you guys. We go live every single week. We interact with the comments, we get in the chat, and we also just love the fans. So hit that sub button right now. Be a part of the Patriots Today family. Join the 46,000 people who love to be up to date with all your Patriots news and rumors. Now let's get back to head coach Vrabel.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's probably some things that, go into that making decisions. And again, we want our players to make great decisions. And again, we've tried to support those players that have some things that have come up, whether those are accusations. We're going to let the legal process run its course, just like we said before. And those players, whether that's Stefan or anybody else that has something, has done exactly what they're supposed to do, be where they're supposed to be, communicate with the court when they're supposed to communicate with them. So, we're going to let all that take care of itself, and then we'll have to see what the judgments are, in those particular cases. Well, I think that there's, just looking across the board, I think there's volume at the tight end class, and whether they're, premium players or what people would say that they're first-round picks, I just know that, when you go and you evaluate other teams and you get ready to play for them, there's a bunch of fourth and fifth round, tight ends that end up starting and playing and contributing. And, so wherever that value is, I just think that there's some names there. And I myself personally have to do a better job of, evaluating that position. That I can then give input to the rest of the personnel staff and kind of the vision that we have, for that position. I think we've met with a bunch of edge players. There's a depth there, so we'll continue to work our way across the board and enjoy these meetings, and I'll have to go back and continue to watch.
Mike, did you talk to?
Did I talk to? Hi.
Mike, did you?
Yep.
How much did that help you do what you did this year? What set you up for the next 2 years?
Well, I think every year is different, and so we'll have to have a really good rookie class next year, and we hope that the players that we drafted, the ones that played a lot, the ones that played, 50 or 60% of the play time, or the ones that maybe didn't play as much, that they all need to develop. They need to continue to grow and develop not only physically, but in our program mentally and emotionally, and become more that foundation that we talked about. So, playing and winning 17 games as a rookie is only good if you can continue to improve and use those experiences, to your benefit. That would then help the team.
Did you talk to Arthur Smith at all during his hiring process? And what do you think about him going to the collegiate game in Ohio State?
Well, Arthur's a friend, so I talk to him, often. Got a lot of respect for him as a coach, but not only that, as a person and as a friend. So for all the Ohio State fans, I guess we have somebody to complain to if they don't score 50 points a game like every other Buckeye fan does. So I'm excited for him to be in Columbus. Obviously, that place means a lot to me, personally and my family. So, having gone there and lived there, and support him. Well, we should never have a reason for volume and stat. We need to evaluate staffing at that level, and to find out and make sure that every game is treated the same, whether it's the primetime game on Sunday night, it's the primetime game on Monday or Thursday, or those 1 o'clock games that is the lifeblood of our league. So I think that if we need to figure out what staffing issues that need to be taken care of, so that those things are looked at, and we're not letting anything slip. We need to be really good in replay. There's going to be mistakes on the field, just like there's mistakes in execution by the players, mistakes by the coaches. There's going to be mistakes by the officials. There are, and they need to be decisive. They need to believe in what they're calling. But saying that there's going to be mistakes, we have to get to a system in replay that is close to 100% accurate as possible. I'm sorry? Well, again, I've never played for him. I've never coached with him. I would say just his record speaks for itself. I have a lot of respect for what he's done. I don't have his secret sauce. I wish I did, and to be able to do it at one place for 18 years. But I know that his teams they're physical, they're sound, they play great defense, they force you into mistakes. But other than that, I'm only looking at it from being against them. Just know that you're going to make some mistakes. Hopefully, don't make too many of them. You don't want to make the same mistakes twice. It's important to be around the building. It's important to make sure everybody in the organization knows that their job is critical to our success. No, I'm sure I made a bunch of them. I think the relationship with players, and specifically you asked about AJ, has meant a lot. I've watched him grow. I've watched him mature. I'm proud of him. Proud of the father that he is. I'm proud of the husband, and that has nothing to do with where he plays and where he played. So those are the things that are important. We reach out and text each other during the things that happen good to each other, and sometimes things don't go so well for the people that you're close with, and you text those as well. So it's a two-way street of support and reminders of what got us to where we are here today.
Hey, Mike, I'm interested in the
the combine. How much can you get out of a 15-minute window, and can you shed some insight on?
Get as much as you guys can get, I guess. It's about the same time, so it depends what kind of questions you ask. You get 18 minutes. Some teams go over, and then they come rushing in, and then the next team's late. So that's the process. It's how long you can keep them past 18 minutes for the person that's taking them to the other room, standing outside the room banging on it. But it's, some guys have a lot to talk about. Some guys have not as much. And I think everybody has a story. Everybody has a journey. Some players have a little bit more in their journey that you have to unpack. And sometimes you have to do, there's obviously follow-up. And this is a good first setting with 45 players. Mike, go ahead, bud.
How would you describe what the Patriots' approach will be in free agency?
Well, I don't want to tell you what it is because we're still working through it. We don't, we want to have a plan and we want to bring in really talented players that we have a vision for, that we also believe in the type of character that they have as we build this team and improve on what we did this year. We know how difficult that will be. So right now the plan is to evaluate everybody that we can, have communication and conversations when those times come with the agents. We approach the tampering window. But right now it's about gaining information from our scouting department and having our coaches look at it and then figuring out, a few players at each position that may help us.
Would you prefer to go into that process with more cap space than you guys currently have?
I've never really tried to get focused. If I shop at Neiman Marcus or Nordstrom or something, I've gotten to the point now in my life where if I want something, I can usually buy it. I don't, I'm sure Richard Miller and Elliott and Matt Groh will work and do everything that they can to help us sign the players with certain exceptions. I haven't even gotten that far. If you like something, usually just try to buy it.
What's your opinion on the notion that the time that your quarterback's on a contract is too time to spend?
Well, I think there's always time to be aggressive, but not reckless. And, we certainly understand what premium quarterbacks cost in this league and where they get to and what they should be compensated. So, we'll do our best to build and continue to build a roster worthy of competing for a championship.
Michael, as you get into the offseason, how hard is it to deal with the Super Bowl loss as a coaching staff? Because you have the same just as long as the team that wins, and then that very few have
Again, I've tried to say that this is a terrible ending to a pretty fantastic season, one that I enjoyed probably as much as any other season that I've been a part of, just from building it and enjoying coming to work and the relationships and bringing together people that were there in place and people that we brought in new and players that were there and staff that was there, and then also adding to that and knowing that how delicate that can be. I enjoyed all that. So didn't enjoy losing. Certainly not that game. And then we have, there's work to do. We're already back at the combine, and this thing is rolling. And, players will come in April 20th. And, again, we'll have to have a program in place that's modified from one they just went through and however modifications that we make to that.
Like after such a successful season, is it part of your job to manage expectations?
I think expectations should always be high. They were high when we started this thing just a little over a year ago. We'll look at the schedule, see where we go, see when we go to Seattle, see when we go to LA. Just everything's a different challenge, but that's a little far out. I think right now it's about, from a coaching standpoint, what we did well, how we can enhance it, the new ideas. We have to have fresh ideas, to what we're doing in all three phases. That's been my direction to the players or to the staff is to go through and focus on what we can do to enhance the core concepts, but also I need to see some new ideas that maybe forces us to push ourselves in a different direction, and not a wholesale change, but things that we feel like can help us, but that are also new.
Follow up on Arthur Smith. What makes him a good offensive coordinator? Why should Ohio State fans be excited?
I think Arthur's got a physicality to him, a toughness to him that he wants to put onto the football field offensively. He's creative enough. He's worked with a number of different players that I think they enjoy some of the wrinkles that he has. I think he's got some core concepts that he enjoys, and he's always been an aggressive play caller.
What does he need to know going from the professional to not just college, but Ohio State?
My first job was at Ohio State. I didn't know anything, so I'm certainly not going to tell him, give him any advice. I think what he does is going to be plenty, and that's to put the players first, make connections with them, do what the players do best.
When you're interviewing players,
It really changes each and every interview for me. I kind of sit there and listen for a little bit and just try to go in any direction and try to chime in where I can, and but I don't have like a set list of questions. I kind of I'm one of those reporters, Karen, that kind of goes with the flow. When I feed off their answer, then I go. I don't have a list like you guys. You come up and you have a list of questions that you have to ask me. I ask questions based off the answers I get.
is there anything you're looking for?
Just trying to be authentic and open up about, again, things that have happened and their growth and their maturity, things that they need, that they feel like they need to be successful from support people or coaching, and where they feel like their development is. And we don't spend a bunch of time on X's and O's in 18 minutes. We don't. We'll have opportunity to do that down the line.
Mike, how have you balanced your preparation the last 2 weeks for free agency and the combine here this week?
Just try to look at really I haven't looked at much of the draft guys personally, outside of what we looked at briefly in Foxborough before we came, but try to look at the free agents, try to understand while we're here who these players are. A lot of these guys I meet and really are excited to look at their film just based on their energy and their just how they presented themselves and the passion in which they spoke. I'm excited to go and watch them. Well, I think that there's got to be a violence. There's got to be ability to move off the football and to create some sort of disruption. You have to be able to factor in on the quarterback. You have to be able to make plays on the football. We know the quarterback is responsible for the most turnovers, in football. So can they affect the quarterback? And then the ability to set the edge, rush, and have enough coverage acumen that the few times we ask them to do it, that they can do it.
Mike, you mentioned about the espresso early wake ups, but I'm curious, how would you describe the balance between work ethic and quality of work for you?
It's probably gotten better. Again, I just want to make sure that our staff has time with their families, in the off season. I tell them all the time, if there's stuff that they need to do in the off season, now's the time to do it. Don't miss something and blame me, because that's not accurate. If they tell their wife or they tell their kid, hey, I couldn't come because Coach Vrabel said no, that's a lie. I want them to be able to do those things. We put a lot of work in. It was a long season, and we were excited to work as long as we did. But you have to be able to get away. You have to be able to spend time with people that care about you. They went on this journey with us too that lasted until February. They were wearing it too. Their anxiety, their nerves, all their feelings that we had, they had as well.
Mike, follow up on the edge rushers. Talk about being violent. Where's the line about being overly aggressive versus being violent instead?
Well, I don't think that's you're probably talking about two different things. I think your actions and the style of play has to always mirror with what we're doing as a defense, but we don't want to take away their ability to make a play. If a tackle oversets, come inside. Know who the quarterback is. If a lineman, maybe reaches you too much and you can come under and you can create a play in the backfield, like those are things we want them to do. We don't want to coach robots. That's not going to get it done. But we can't have guys that are just doing their own thing with the mobile quarterback and a certain coverage, and then now we give up an X play, or just making sure that everybody's on the same page is the most important thing.
Right, and this is a final question. Roger Goodell talked again about diversity in coaching. That doesn't seem to be an issue with your staff. What have you done to kind of cast a wider
Well, the thing for me that's really critical is the diversity of ideas and backgrounds of race allows us to make sure that every one of the 90 players that we have, or 91 players that we'll take to camp, doesn't fall through any crack. That if they need something, if they need some extra teaching, if they need something off the field, whether it's whoever it is, that one of those players doesn't fall through the cracks, and that's really important to me. We want the best coaches and we want the best people, but the diversity of ideas, backgrounds, and race is critical because our players are coming. We're getting players from everywhere across the country, and even we'll add an international player as well. So thank you. Briefly, they talked about the idea and how we have to, as a league, prepare and what we need to do, just like on our football team and everybody else's football team, that they're preparing for things that may come up. And some of those things don't end up happening, but we always have to have a plan and be prepared for anything that could come up, especially one that we're aware of, which is in a negotiation. So thank you. Okay, Taylor.
Mention the depth of tight end in this class, but there being so many body types and skill sets in that position, there's certain non-negotiables where, regardless of the role, you got to have that kind of.
Well, I mean, again, it's there's going to be different styles of tight end, right? Ones that are going to be maybe better pass catchers and better, harder, tougher matchups for defenses. There's going to be guys that are more suited at the line of scrimmage. There's going to be guys that are suited to more movement blocks. To you see these. As I talk about it, being able to create some movement before the snap, going laterally, that then could transition into, getting into the line of scrimmage. So you see these tight end blocks that are kind of changing and evolving, and we have to be conscious of who we have and how we need to run the football and, ideas that we can give them. Well, at all levels of football, and whether that's in the collegiate level, at all different levels, around the league, very few coaches come up with their own ideas, I'll tell you that. So everybody wants to be a guru, but you look around and a lot of these things look the same, and there's a lot of good ideas, and like I tell them, it's only crazy if it doesn't work.